Welcome to We Run This Town podcast, the official podcast of Gulf Winds Track Club, serving our area runners for almost 50 years. Our podcast is designed to support our runners in the Big Bend area, whether you're a beginning runner or an elite runner, offering education, entertainment, and encouragement on all topics running. Let's get running with today's episode. Hello, everybody. Hi, members of Gulf Winds Track Club. Welcome to another episode of We Run This Town, your club's exclusive special podcast to talk about all things running. Mickey Moore, your volunteer host. Really thrilled today. Y'all may know better than me if you got kids running cross country, but it's about to be season time. Get out in the woods and the trails and running. So today, our special guests are some experts in coaching here in the Big Bend region for middle school and high school. I'll get to them and introduce them in just in a second, but wanted to throw out a couple things about the club real quick. Thank you to everybody that attended our town hall at Momo's last month. It was a good turnout, and of course the pizza is always great. I missed it, but I hear it was a good gathering, so that's exciting. Also, if you're looking for volunteerism, keep in mind Gulf Winds Track Club each year, toward the end of the year, we're looking for folks that want to volunteer to be on the board and things. So have any questions, go to gulfwinds.org. If you need information, all the email and contact information is there. So thank you for that. And lastly, just a brief shout out to our community partner for this episode, More Business Strategies. May sound familiar to some of you. That's right. But we're fortunate to have local entrepreneurs and businesses support the podcast. So thank you for that. And let me get to our guests today for our all things cross country with these expert panel that we kind of put together today. Deanna McVay, coach at Maclay this year.
New title, yeah. New title this year.
Welcomes. Good to see you.
Thank you.
Formerly at Holy Comforter.
Yeah.
That's where I first met you, when you're at Holy Comforter. We also have Chris Sumner, Lincoln. Go Trojans.
Yep.
How are you, sir?
Wonderful.
Thank you for being here. Appreciate it. And, of course, David Knauf, who is at Chiles High School.
Yeah.
How you doing, David? Good
Doing
to
great.
See you.
Go Bulls.
Listen, y'all are the experts, and as we mentioned early on, this is a kickoff coming up, right? I think the third week of August here locally. Things kind of start with the Dueling Summits meet that's out at Phipps, right? Is that at Phipps? And so we thought, what better thing to talk about than cross country? And this panel, round robin, we're going to be quick. We'll throw out some questions. But beforehand, I think our listeners would benefit greatly to know a little bit more about each of you. So just briefly share, if you don't mind, again, where you're coaching, how long you've been coaching, any other little tidbit you want to add there. And we'll start with Deanna.
Okay, so Deanna McVay, I have been coaching. This will be my 5th year, but my day job is working in cardiometabolic health. So I've been a leader in corporate America for a decade. I think there's a lot of transferable skills. I think I actually said no to coaching maybe 3 or 4 times to the AD before I started at Holy Comforter, and loved every second of working there. Worked with them for 4 years. From a team where we didn't have enough kids to make a girls team to the girls finishing 3rd in the state last season. So I think at some of these smaller schools, taking what you find and trying to make every runner the best runner they can is a unique challenge, but it was fun. And this year I'm moving over to work with Coach Hoffman at Maclay. He's a fantastic coach. Really excited to work with the girls there this season. I think they may be a little bit of a dark horse. So excited. We have a lot of young talent coming over and excited to see what they do this season.
Thank you. Appreciate that background and stating, of course, that your real job, because I think a lot of our coaches in town, they have real, quote unquote, real jobs, day jobs, whatever, and then they do this kind of on the side and almost in volunteer roles, some people too. So thank you for mentioning that.
Yeah, for the love of it. I think I should add to also a runner myself. I love it. I have 3 kids running high school cross country this season as well.
Awesome. Thanks, Deanna. Chris?
So I coach at Lincoln. This, I believe, is my 30th year, which doesn't seem right.
It happens fast, right?
Yeah, I started in fall of 97, so whatever that adds up to.
Just say a while, sure.
Yeah. But I have a full-time business with Miles and Minutes. I got into it from the coaching aspect, and then I also have a part-time job at Publix. But the coaching is what, kind of motivates me to get up and go every day. I look forward to the season coming up every year, working with the new group of kids. It's always fun, exciting.
Yeah. All at Lincoln, right?
No, I was at Godby for 15
Okay.
years, and then Leon one season, Florida High for 2 or 3.
Okay, so
Then been at Lincoln since.
Big Bend, you've seen it all.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay. David, let's go.
Yeah. So again, I do have a regular daytime job. I work as a director of operations at a company called Xylem in Thomasville, Georgia. Got into cross country and track really because my kids, as most of you probably are on the round table, know. And started in around 2010 at Deer Lake Middle School and coached their middle school cross country program. 5-time county champs in a row, so really successful program over there. Moved over to Munford because my wife currently works at Munford, and working with Brad and those guys, they're on a win streak of their own, so I love it. Again, really got into it because my son was running cross country, and there was a definitely need. There's a big gap there in terms of knowledge and help. So they kind of reeled me in, and then he went on to high school and college, and I kind of stayed with it. Opportunity to work for Chiles last year where they had a gap and they didn't have a coach. So I came in as an assistant coach over there, worked with a grad student that was their head coach because she do it more full-time than myself. Had a great season, obviously, state champs for the girls, third for the boys. But it's really all about, these are the same kids I've been coaching for 7 or 8 years. They're just now at the high school level. So as I kind of tell everybody, I get a chance to finish the story because, hey, we get the same kids again. So it's a great community we have here, and really starts from the really small up till the high school ranks.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm glad you could drop, the performances of your schools too. That was nice, to put that out there. First in the state, third in the state. You want to add anything, Chris?
We're going for 5 years in a row qualifying for boys.
There you go. All
See
right.
how it
And they're going to
goes.
be good this year.
Hopefully.
Yeah. They will. Okay, so first question for each of you. Tell us a little bit about your coaching philosophy, right? So what are the center's tenets of your coaching philosophy? If you could hang your hat on one or two things that you do, that you always do as a coach when you're working with your teams, what would that philosophy be? Dave, I'll start with you.
Yeah, so there's no secret formula, secret sauce. I know we talked a little bit about, hey, what are these Chiles kids doing? And the reality of it is we do a real big base, so our long, slow distance in the summers, and just build on a pyramid. So if you've got a kid that's running 10, 15 miles a week, our goal is to get them to 30 miles a week or more, get the base before we start any type of quality work. It's important. One of the things that people get wrong is they start doing the quality work without the base, and it leads to injury. So it's really get the base in, get the aerobic in, and then start getting some of the quality work in, and it all works out.
Okay. Deanna, what do you want to add to that?
I think starting with younger kids, it's really to develop a lifelong love of running. So kind of develop the person, the kid, the athlete first, the runner second. And there's so many transferable skills to life, right, that you learn in running cross country. So that would be the one. I think I've also seen just so many kids, they come out hot, they're doing a lot. There's a lot of trackflation in the world right now. So you could do 50 miles a week as a middle schooler and be a star, but is that going to be good for your long-term development? So I probably am a little bit more cautious, but I want them to love this. And I think too, as we're all around here today, because we love running, I want them to still have that same love and passion. You get 4 years at the high school level. You may get 4 more years for very few, but they can be doing this for 40, 50 years. And so that's the biggest thing is just developing them, maybe not too fast, and want them to love it, not get burnout, all of those things. And I think similar to David, right? Like summer's tough. It is really, really tough, especially in Florida. I sometimes think about those Michigan runners. I'm like, they have no idea. And so keeping them healthy, keeping them in it, keeping them disciplined so that they can continue to see success and build as the season goes.
Nice, thank you. Chris, how about you? Basis of your philosophy with coaching? What would it
Building the team, creating that family environment is huge. That's one of my number one things. They're only going to have this experience for so long, and then they'll never be able to go back to it. It's different when you're an adult and you can join like a running club like Gulf Winds or something. But this team environment, it happens once and it's gone. And it's building that family, making everybody feel welcomed. You know, each kid, I'm only worried about them succeeding and them getting better than they were yesterday. So if they win state titles, great, you know. But sometimes there's a lot of enjoyment from watching that 35-minute kid become a 20-minute kid, you know, in 5K, and just see them develop a love for the sport. You know, I would love to see them continuing on as an adult. It kind of bugs me when you meet athletes in their 20s and they absolutely hate it because they didn't enjoy their high school career. So building that philosophy of, you know, the team environment, they're all working together, you know, and developing a love for the sport is huge.
Nice. Thank you, Chris. Yeah, so family, love, passion, running, foundation, caution, building up the, you know, performance or their experience over time just to prevent some injury. And I will say, again, there's three of the coaches here in Big Bend that are here. There are a lot of other coaches out there, right? We can only get so many people around the table, but I would imagine some others would share some of the things. And y'all know those coaches, right? And that, you know, they have some of the same feelings that you do, hopefully. Let me ask the next question about challenges as coaches, right, and today. And we're talking about middle school and high school, right? So it could be either one because y'all have done both, right? So what are the primary challenges today facing our cross-country coaches?
Internet.
Internet, really?
Yeah.
Elaborate, Chris.
The kids all think that they're doing, you know, their own research and they know better than us. And, you know, they get distracted because Josh Kerr's posting this video this week. And, you know, and last week Ingebrigtsen's posting this, you know. They just read so much on there and they would just want to hop from, you know, the hot thing here this week to the next thing over there. They're all searching for that magic pill, and the internet will sell them 1,000 of them.
Yep. Yeah.
Yep, agreed.
Wow, okay.
Well
Good.
said, yeah.
Anything else? What other challenges from y'all's perspective?
Well, I think for us, social media in general is a problem. It's even Strava. They're looking at everybody's times, and everything's online, and that is a challenge. For our program, it's some of it sounds boring because it's just the basics. We're going to go about doing what we do, and it's not about the workout of the day. And you get a lot of feedback from folks that want to ask questions about that, and some of that's valid. You can go do some of that stuff, and there's good takeaways from that. But I think there's more value in having us as coaches talk to each other and hey, what's going on and how people are developing and maybe pivoting if something isn't working. Yeah. That's the key versus just plowing through it.
Do y'all, the coaches here, do y'all get together? Do y'all have a round table once in a while? Do y'all talk about stuff?
We should.
We haven't. And it's something I actually want to bring back. I feel like we used to do this a long time ago. Yeah. It was more kind of like in track. We would have like a local meeting of a lot of coaches. It kind of fizzled out because personalities didn't get along too well.
Sure.
But
let's bring it back.
It would be something nice to kind of get together outside of the coaching, season and just kind of build a good friend relationship and get along with each other. My travels as a timer, I get to see all kind of different places around the state, and there's some places that they do that a lot. And those coaches, they run phenomenal events. They get along great along with each other. Their teams are good. So it's just something I'm like, I wish we could do that more here.
Yeah. I think we should build it. I mean, it's one of those things, right? We don't compete necessarily at the state level, in the 3A. So we're cheering. I was so excited when Chiles girls won, and I think we should continue to do that. I think it'd be great. And these kids, they're all friends with each other, right? I mean, they've grown up running together, even if they're competing and wearing different uniforms. So
it's a good idea. Let's make that happen.
I was going to add the internet. I know it's a challenge. It's a beauty and a curse, though. I mean, I think there's a couple of things. Like, we're seeing faster times than we've ever seen because you have all this knowledge. I mean, there's shoe technology too, but you have all this knowledge sharing. And I read somewhere that the best plan is the plan that an athlete believes in. So I think it is important for a team perspective, right, for them to believe in it. It is hard if, one athlete believes this and they have another coach and then they have their mom saying this and the dad saying this. So that's the challenge. But I think there's so much beauty in the internet as well. And then these kids are gonna have to grow up living in that world, right? When they go to their jobs, it is gonna be running your own race and learning your own journey and becoming the best version of yourself. So I think though it's challenging, like it's important that it exists because they're gonna be better athletes and people on the other end if they figure out how to navigate it.
Yeah. No, well said. I think, we all know comparison is the thief of joy, right? And that would be my primary concern with Strava and all of that because, my boys looking at Strava and going, oh, but somebody did this. And, oh, am I good? Am I not good? Should I be faster? Should I be slower? And it's like, hey, stop, right? You be you. Okay. EAG, effort, attitude, gratitude. Let's go. How much did you put in today? That's what matters, right? So, but I do think it's valuable because you can learn lessons from the folks that are on the internet. I mean, yeah, Kerr and all those, they're amazing athletes. I mean, when there's a sub 2 hour marathon, I mean, wow, let's learn from that how we can. So what is possible? I like that when I read things on the internet because it pushes the envelope a little bit. But so let's talk about let's see. So we got misconceptions or myths, right? So when it comes to cross country, if I'm a parent, if I'm a kid thinking about doing it, or if I want to be a coach, what are those common misconceptions or myths about cross country that y'all have to talk about, handle in your day to day?
So. There's a few. One of the ones, a lot of the kids are scared to come out and try because they think that everybody does the same thing and they're all running 10, 15 miles a day. And everybody kind of starts off different. And so getting athletes or new people kind of adjusted to that, knowing that they're going to have to be in a different spot when they start than someone else. So it's not just they hear and see what the number one guy is doing. That doesn't mean that's what they're going to be doing when they first come out. So fighting through that at first. The other one that I have this conversation constantly with parents and athletes is you got to get out. If you're not in the lead in the first 800 meters, you got no chance. And, I watched Matt Mazurek and Will Stanford, some of the best come through Tallahassee. Back in their heydays when they were winning state titles, they were dead last in that first 800. And there's a great video of one of Leon's teams. You could see all 7 guys in the very back of the first 800 of the race. And the next time they came around, they're all kind of about mid-pack. I think they ended up finished all in the top 20, like all 7 guys. And it's just, you can move up. I've seen tons of athletes move up throughout the race. You don't have to go out there and lead at the very beginning. But they all want to go out there. The parents are all out there yelling. You'll hear coaches telling them, you got to give yourself a chance. If you're not in the front, you got no chance.
Right, yeah. Y'all want to add to that?
I think it's the same thing for our program. Some people are afraid to go out because they think they run all these miles, which is too hard, it's too difficult. And the reality of it is I'm putting as much effort into my slowest person and my fastest person. The goal is to make an improvement, kind of what Chris said. We had a young lady make a 7-minute improvement last year in her 5K time. So
7 minutes?
7 minutes over a season. Think about that. So it's all about that. And boy, the excitement to see that person PR was incredible. And to PR at 24 minutes, was just as exciting as seeing somebody go run sub-16. So I think doing that and that it's progressive. You can start really easy and work that way through X amount of time. The other thing is that some of the coaches back in the day focused just on cross country. You're living it, you're breathing it, you're doing nothing. We don't have the philosophy at Chiles. Our number one runner right now is a soccer player. So we're trying to figure out how do you get these kids engaged that are in multiple sports, also have a love of running that can be complementary to their other support. Because again, we want this to be a life situation, not we're going to grind you out 50 miles a week and do nothing else but run cross country.
And so, can they do 2 sports at the same time?
At Chiles High School under me, yes, they can.
Okay. So right now is fall, right? Cross country, football. So you could have a runner doing both.
There's some requirements through the ADs. If they're actually in competition, they may not be able to compete. That's a school thing.
Right.
And some of the sports overlap late versus early. So soccer is a good example of it. Some of the cross-country folks they can train, but they can't compete until the one season's over because the ADs, rightly so, are concerned about injuries and doing multiple sports. But training-wise, yes, we can fit that in.
Soccer is great training for running, from what
incredible.
I hear. Right?
Yep.
Yeah, you put a midfielder. That's all they do. run. Right? Yeah. Landon Heitmeyer, the local quick kid. A couple other. What are the two brothers? Wren? Do they play soccer too? And Sims.
Yeah. Exactly.
Y'all know these kids, all right? Shane tried football and cross country last year, and it was too much. And I think his progression in both sports suffered because he was doing both at the same time, right?
Yeah.
So what do you want to add? Any misconceptions or myths?
I mean, I was going to add in general, there's always this little like taunting between the sports that cross country is easy. You know, when you're a kid, you come out, you got football, you got volleyball, you got a lot of competing sports. Cross country is a tough sport. And I think if you're going into it thinking like, hey, just show up, I mean, you can make it what it is. But these kids are out here, 6 days a week, 6 a.m. all summer grinding. And so I think knowing that you get out of it what you put in, another great life lesson, but it is a tough sport. And so to be the best version of yourself, you got to commit to it to be able to really give yourself a shot. You don't have to. I love what they're echoing, and I'll echo celebrating these PRs. I think that's important. And then I think it's also a family sport too, You have a lot, like we ask a lot of the parents, and they come out there and they're driving all over the state to see their kid run for maybe 10, 15 minutes. So, and they're running, probably getting a workout, just cheering their kids on as well. And so I think it's a family commitment, but one of the most beautiful sports in the sense that you're cheering for the guy who's winning it, the girl who's winning it, as much as you're cheering for that kid who's running his very first 3K, 5K. So I don't know if that's a misconception, but it's a tough sport, but it's just a great sport.
Yeah, it's got some pain.
Yeah.
I can vouch for that. But I have run a lot of courses watching my kids, and y'all know what I mean as a parent, right? The first time they pass you, and I'm like, okay, where I got to go now? And I got to sprint across the field in my regular shoes.
In my early years, I would get more miles trying to run catch splits and cheer kids on than the kids were running that day.
Yeah. Okay, so I heard a phrase, watch outs, right? Somebody mentioned. So from your perspective as coaches, what are some common watch outs for parents, athletes, or other coaches? Again, we want to include all three here because I imagine there's people listening that may want to be a coach one day, right? But really for our members who are parents or members that are kids or younger that are running, what are those common watch outs that you want to share?
I guess I'll start with, and this probably goes to all youth sports, but making judgment calls on kids before they even hit puberty. Who's going to be a star, who's not going to be a star. Somebody who could barely make a team might be your number one runner in high school. So I just think you just don't know. Kids develop so differently at different rates. So that's probably for all youth sports, but especially or also cross country. The other thing I think particularly with females, and I think we've talked a little bit about this, the development is a little different. These guys, they start to get a shot of testosterone. They kind of are on this upward trajectory. And I think for females sometimes, especially as they move from middle school and then on to high school, they can plateau or think they're getting slower, or maybe they're not good or cut out for this anymore too. So I think that's another watch out, like just knowing and being patient. I like the idea of having both male and female coaches because I do think you get different conversations. The girls aren't going up to Coach Hoffman talking about where they are in their cycle and why this workout might not have gone as well, but they might to me. And I think that's just important too, to understand and help them through and help them navigate different things that they might experience as a male and female athlete. And then just to be patient with it, the parents, the kids themselves. And I could probably give a bunch of parenting watch outs too.
We're going to get to that.
So
I got a question
hold
for
on
that. Yeah,
one.
hold on that one. Yeah, so, and again, we're going to talk about the progression in performance, difference, biological impact, right, on that for boys and girls, male and female, because y'all know more about it. You deal with it every day, right? So I want to come back to that and add some stuff on it. But common watch outs, you guys have something to add there?
Kind of goes along with that. Just you can be feeling really good, and if you just keep pushing too much, once the pain, like injury, starts setting in, it's kind of too late, and you got to be careful to kind of pay attention to that early. And it's hard to hold kids back, and say, hey, you got to be thinking of 3 or 4 months from now, not, the 2 weeks down the road. Yes, you could do more, and I know you're feeling good, but that's fine. Just continue to hold on a little bit, because you're not going to feel like that 4 months down the road.
Yeah, patience, right? Reciprocity, different things. But even as a parent, I can't take my parent hat off, paying attention to it. But instant gratification, that's been on us for a decade or more now. And I feel it as a parent sometimes, and I know my boys do. Y'all have to deal with that too, right? Yeah. How many of your athletes think, I practiced for a week, so I should be at 10:30 on the 3K now, right?
Right.
Yeah, it is asking. They ask for more when they really shouldn't sometimes. So it is. I agree with Chris. It's holding them back, being again a little bit more every week. We've got some new kids that showed up last week, and they already want to run more. And don't want you to run more. I want you to be able to run injury free in October, not go out and run for 2 weeks and I've got a stress fracture or whatever, some kind of soft tissue injury. So it's exciting that they're interested in doing that, but we're in for the long game, right? Not the short game. So
I think we've seen some examples too. I mean, we've seen a lot of these. I'm going to talk particularly young girls that I've followed too, who they became stars. They were doing 40 miles at middle school. They're winning state, and then you never hear about them again. Yep. And so I think some lessons learned from that too. You'd rather them do a little less and have time to develop and do more later than do too much and never be back.
We'll be right back. Hey, friends. I've been a member of Gulf Winds Track Club now since, I believe, 2007. And I became a member is because I was running 1 mile a day, 2 miles a day. And I owe everything to Gulf Winds Track Club to get me to where I am today as a runner. The fellowship, the friendships, the relationships, whatever you want to call it. But, it's also the learning. I got to train with others. I got to ask a lot of questions. I got to witness growth in others, and all because of the club. I've had lifelong friends, and we've traveled to places and done special races, and now my entire family, we're all members of Gulf Winds Track Club. So I invite you to visit gulfwinds.org, become a member too. Now back to the show. Let's talk a little bit about your teams today, and then we'll come back to that performance piece individually. Some teams here local have 5 kids, have a hard time getting 5 kids to put a team together, whether it be middle school or high school. Some high schools have 50 kids on their team. Mm-hmm. I mean, what do you do specifically as far as building your team? Is there a legit tryout when it comes to scheduling your meets? Is there a science to it? Is there magic to it? Is it an art? What are we talking about, Chris? You do a tryout? You have to? Or
I don't do a tryout. I tell every kid that I meet, if you're willing to come out and work hard and be part of our group, you're on the team. It's more of just kind of being there for the athletes and showing that you care and you're going to be there constantly for them that gets them to buy in. When you first start off at a school, it's always a little rough, especially if you're replacing a coach that's done a lot. You're going to get that awkward, transition year. But once they start to see, that you care and you're going to, help them and develop, and be there for them, they're going to start to come out. And when I was at Godby, I'd still had teams of almost 30 kids. But I was out there in the hallways walking around talking to everybody. And we had orientation yesterday, and I told all the kids out there, we're going to get 100 no's and a ton of awkward looks, but we might get one. If we get one, yes, it was worth us being out here. And so, spend a lot of times out there in the hallways, talking to athletes and, trying to persuade them to give it a shot. And then you just slowly build up your numbers, and you'll find, athletes that want to be in there.
Okay. How about you? Any magic when it comes to building a team and putting a schedule together?
So I'll talk middle school and then high school real quick. At Holy Comforter, we didn't even have enough to score. So we were like, everybody come out. I think we moved up 5th grade for a year just to have some kids. But they fell in love with it. And I think on that girl side, quite a few of them are running as freshmen this year. On the Maclay side, and Nathan could talk more about the boys, but, they have a great, solid group of boys. They got some top boys that will be competing. David Barton amongst the best in the state. The girls' side, I mean, we'll take some runners. Anybody at Maclay wants to run if they're listening. A little lower on numbers there. And so I think it offers a unique challenge. And I think, as in anything, it comes in waves. So there's not cutting. They're certainly making varsity in JV. And then, at least on my side, I'm seeing a very open, kind of dry out of female runners. So would love for more and more female runners to be coming up. I don't know if you guys are seeing the same on the female side. It's
the girls' side is always a little bit.
It's kind of wide open in Tallahassee on the girls' side. At least maybe not Chiles.
What's the reason? I mean, is it because there's more to do out there? There's volleyball, there's soccer, there's tennis, other
Soccer's
sports.
the biggest thing that kills us.
Really? Yeah.
And volleyball. I mean, I would say volleyball, soccer. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So for Chiles, we have a tryout. We have a 2-mile time trial as our tryout. So if you can run 2 miles, you automatically make the team. If you don't run 2 miles, we'll have a discussion about being able to stay with the team. So our goal is to not cut anybody.
Right.
We didn't have anybody that couldn't run 2 miles, so everybody made the team this year.
Okay.
That's the first thing. Second thing is we've got a big team this year. So we've got close to 50 runners between the boys and the girls. But all the way from somebody who just started running last week to somebody that's probably one of the tops in the state. So you got to kind of cater to all that variety of folks that are out there. But our goal is to continue to make sure they're able to go run, not this year, all 4 years, have enjoyable, have it as an experience that they're going to want to come back and maybe bring their friends. We had one of the girls on the team brought a friend of hers that's a tennis player, started this week. So we encourage athletes from other sports to go give it a try, and if anything else, great cross training, and you don't know who's going to be that next person that's superstar.
Awesome.
The one thing on cross training too, same tennis players, soccer players, they may not love it, and running may not be their first love. But there's something that happens when they see that, hey, I might be able to be good at this. That all of a sudden, running might become one of their loves too. So I think we encourage that too. We'll take anyone, and you just never know. And a lot of these athletes, right, develop the athlete first. They become some of the very best runners we have.
Yeah. So another thing, kind of mentioned, there is a lot of things that we do throughout the year to entice the kids. So like cross country camp in the summer is huge. And so, I tell them, I want y'all to take tons of pictures, show all their friends that didn't go. They get jealous. And
FOMO.
And then the following year we pick up a few more, and then kids are like, this is really fun. Like, that was not what I thought it would be. That was a really cool experience. Yeah. During the season, we try to have like a fun trip where we go race, but then also do something else to kind of build that, excitement, and it's a carrot over their head to, something to work for, to be part of that trip. And little things like that throughout the year, you'll find kids that never thought they would do that sport, and they want to be part of that group, and they want to keep trying. And then all of a sudden, that athlete is becoming a really good athlete. I've seen 30-minute people down in the 17s, and they were like leaders on my team. But if I didn't spend that 2 or 3 years kind of helping them develop along and kind of getting them to enjoy the sport, that never would have happened.
Yeah.
So.
Summer camps.
Yes.
I want to go.
We went to Flagstaff this year. It was a dream, a runner's dream.
Flagstaff, where'd y'all go, David?
We went to North Carolina, Blowing Rock. It was great.
And your camp was where?
Townsend, Tennessee.
Okay, nice. Yeah, I just stayed in Tallahassee, ran around Southwood. That's all right. Yeah, so, all right, let's shift a little bit and talk about parents. We've touched on it a little bit. So, from your perspective, what would the best relationship look like between coaches and parents and athletes? Like, what's the pinnacle if you could say, I'd love to have this kind of relationship with our parents? What would it be? What would that look like?
I'll take this one because so we have a Boosters Club at Chiles and super engaged parents, which is great. As a coach, I can walk in and get my clipboard, get my athletes, and they've got everything else taken care of. They got lodging taken care of, they got food taken care of. But what I have for a speech every year is let the coaches coach, and I need the parents to parent. So we have a pretty big demarcation of what those guidelines are. Example, when you go to a meet, parents aren't allowed in the tent. with the athletes are with the coaches. The parents are on the sidelines. There's no parent coaching. There's only parent encouragement. So something that would be out of bounds would be a parent asking their child, why didn't you run well today, or what's going on with that in terms of that, and having some type of evaluation with the athlete. We really want them to parent and encourage and keep them healthy, and we'll have those discussions. And if there's something that needs to be discussed, we'll discuss it with the parent and the coach and the athlete together. So it's a great relationship we have in general. They all kind of know the rules of the game, and they'll certainly come to me if there's a question they have. And we've had parents come through and say, boy, so-and-so just didn't run well. He's not doing well. And kind of what Chris alluded to before, it's August, September. We're an October team. So the fact that you don't think he's progressing as fast as you think he is, it's just let the process work. Yeah. And that's where you got to be with it.
Thanks, David. So, and to elaborate further on that, do you have time to establish proactive communication with the parents on how their kids are doing? Or do you have to really wait on the parent to say, hey, how's my kid doing? You know what I mean? Like, there's got to be a fine line, a balance there.
There is, and it's kind of filling them out, just like having small discussions with them to kind of see what their mindset is. And you can slowly start to figure out which parents are going to be disruptive and which ones are going to be supportive. And you make time through like little phone calls, little 5-minute conversations when they're dropping them off or picking them up at practice, a text message here or there. But a parent that's supportive of the coach and understands you got to be helpful. If you come in there and just try to disrupt everything, that just makes it a nightmare situation.
Okay.
I'd say 2 points. One, yes, I think just proactive communication is really important. Weekly communications, whether it's email or touch points when you see them at a meet, showing them the development. And we just had a 3K time trial, and I know Coach Hoffman sent out their year-over-year improvement. Like, that's fun for parents to see. They might not be able to tell that at the time trial, but when you look back, you're like, wow, look at all the progress that has happened in just a year before the season starts. And then I think I became a coach as I was parenting. And this is kind of a shout out to the coaches. Like, I have such a deep, deep respect for anybody who coaches. For the most part, they are doing this for the love of these kids, for the love of the sport, for very, very little, if anything. And so I would just say, and the amount of time these coaches are putting into this outside of maybe their day jobs. And it's not just the time, like, hey, 2 hours at practice, 6 days a week and a meet. It is also the time they're thinking about these kids. They're thinking about their illness, their setback, the grade they got, how they're, they really care about these kids. So I would say as a parent, I wish I would have always had that perspective, and I just got a deeper understanding of it being around all these amazing coaches in town. So I would say that would be one thing for the parents out there, like to keep that perspective. These people really do have your kid and your athlete's best interests at heart, and they spend so much time. So to both David and Chris's point about just like collaboration, right? Mm-hmm. Athlete first, athletes at the center of it, and we all want the same things, which is the best for your kid.
Yeah, I hear give and take, right? To me, utopian would be give and take with the parents, back and forth. But coaches, how much time do you have, like I said, for that one-on-one to be able to provide those scores and the growth for the parent, but yet the parent understanding enough, hey, we got a job here. And some of us are doing multiple jobs trying to get this done. So give us our space and be encouragement versus coaching. Yeah. But I know for me that's a hard piece because I've been coaching my boys for so long. It's really hard for me to stand out there and, and zip it, but I got to, right?
And remember, some teams have large groups. There's 50 kids, that's 100 parents to you. That's difficult. We're on a remind group also, which is helpful. Yeah. I don't know if you all do that. So a lot of communications via that because you can kind of talk to everybody at the same time. It's important. And also there's an opportunity to have a one-on-one. Hey, if somebody's not doing well or somebody's doing great, to have that quick shout-out with the parent and the student-athlete saying, hey, this is where you're at. No worries. This is where you should be. Kind of the positive affirmation that you're on the right path in the journey. Or maybe something isn't going well, let's do something different.
Okay. So let's talk about competition And what I mean by that is what it takes to be competitive today as a program. I'm not putting it on just the athletes or just the coach or just a parent, but to have a competitive middle school program or a competitive high school program today, what are those things you got to have? What are those have-tos?
I mean, it'd be nice to have numbers first.
Okay, yeah.
That would be
Numbers of
would be
athletes,
nice, but
sure.
you don't have to have it. It sure makes the path to success easier.
Okay.
So like on Mile Split, they've been having a debate here the last few months about who's the greatest of all time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Defining competitive and success is going to be different for everybody.
Yeah.
And so that it's kind of a hard question to answer because what kind of competitiveness are we talking about?
Sure.
Are we talking about trying to win a state title? Or we're trying to be the best in town? We're trying to be the best team that our school has ever had? You know, there's a lot of things that we could be.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of there's different angles, and each year a team is going to, have a different goal slightly. So
Okay. Yeah, no, it's good. I mean, resources, right? If we go there, right, you've got to have necessary resources. I think you mentioned you have a booster. Do y'all
Boosters
have
Club.
boosters club too?
I don't.
Go, you do?
We do, but to your point, we're not really competing on equal ground always. I know Bell and Jesuit is in Flagstaff. They've been there for a month. They'll come home and they'll race at Cecil Field. And I know a couple of our guys on that side will be racing Marcelo,
Yes.
who is fresh off of a month at altitude. So it's not success can look different.
They're doing some of the same running, but their resources that maybe they have,
Right.
to use. Because I know at FSUS, we don't have a booster for our cross-country team. We don't have boosters. We're trying, but that makes a difference, right? I mean, hotels, motels, traveling, whether you go the night before versus driving at 5:30 in the morning.
If I'm not spending 30 hours a week trying to make these plans,
Right,
Yeah.
and I
right.
can just coach, that's
Yeah.
great.
That's why I feel so blessed
Yeah.
that we
Yeah,
have this
to
program.
your point.
I can sit there and coach, and I've got this great, incredible group of folks. But going back to what you said about what the success mean, or what to your question, Tallahassee's got an incredible middle school feeder program. I mean, there's about 3 other places in the state of Florida that have that, and we're just blessed to have one of them. Gulf Winds Track Club, bringing up the Smurfs. You have kids out there. If anybody was at breakfast on the track, there was probably 50 pink shirts. It's all the Smurfs, and we've got Smurfs that become middle schoolers, that become high school athletes, that become incredibles. They just didn't walk in one day.
Right.
They had 7 years of that type of a program. So it is the numbers. I think it's engagement. My wife was at NIMS Middle School years ago, and probably 5 or 6 years ago, they didn't have a cross-country program. So her and I set the program up to how do we go get kids. And our goal was, back to what Deanna said, our goal was to how do you get 5 athletes to score?
Right.
And we were able to do that. So you've got to get that type of engagement at the school level, really middle school level. And it is a numbers game, but it's an engagement game. You got to have some skin in the game to go do that. And like what Chris said, you got to pull kids out of the hallway sometimes and say, hey, I'm always looking for that 5'10" girl that I know is going to be a high jumper in track, right? And find out what does she do. Is she playing volleyball already? Or, you're always looking for the athlete to go help you.
Chasing them in the halls. Hey, you. Yeah, you want to come run cross country? Yeah, I mean, resources, people, right? You need those things to be competitive, right? But I do agree with Deanna earlier. Love the running, because at some point it's going to hurt so bad, you're going to question whether you want to get up, on a summer morning at 7 a.m. and it's 80 degrees already, and you've got to go do 5 miles, right? It's going to hurt.
You wake up and you got a 10-miler and you're in Flagstaff looking at the mountains and you got 50-degree weather. This
That's
is much
not
easier
bad.
to
That's
do.
not
I can
bad.
do
Well,
that.
I mean, just the demand on kids is different, today than it was 10 years ago. So these kids, we're asking them to come to practice after doing 7 APs, and they have to study for the SAT. And don't forget, they want to be a kid and go to prom. I mean, it's a lot. It's a lot, I think, just to be a kid. So to be a student athlete is difficult. But I agree, Tallahassee has so many great examples. And I think even the middle school program, like Holy Comforters, hopefully up and running. Gary Droz is about to take it over, which is awesome. They're so lucky to have him. They're about to get a track there. So I think to the point, if we can get the younger kids to start and stay interested in running, then all of these programs are going to do well for a long time. Same thing, I think one of the things I'd love to see at Maclay, and I'm sure they've had it in the past, is when there's middle school runners, are already running up. And then you have some feeder talent coming in, and then you just build these programs. I know that's what Oak Hall down in Gainesville did to be really strong for years. So would love to see that come back.
Yeah, get the elementary kids. And thanks for the plug for Gulf Winds Track Club, the Smurfs, and the summer track program.
Incredible organization.
I didn't ask you to do that, so thank you very much. Yes, come out next year. They had a really good year. David Yawn, and his team that are doing it for years. It's impressive.
And it's free. So come on out.
Another club benefit of being a member of Gulf Winds Track Club. Was that clear enough? Did I get that? Okay. So let's talk a little bit about just advice, kind of a quick piece around different subjects when it comes to athletes and runners too. But before I ask, I want to get back to that performance progression, boys and girls piece, and transition from middle school to high school. If we can put that kind of together, what your thoughts would be there, because it's different. When you leave 8th grade and you go to that 9th grade, 10th grade, I mean, obviously the distance is different, but there's a weight on you, there's a different workload, but then you throw in too, girls are different than boys at that time frame, around 8th grade, 9th grade too. So what do you want to start off on that? What do you have to say?
Keep an open mind, and there's always going to be factors and things we can't all predict or control. So an open mind and just trying to succeed, but understanding that things are going to be different and change each year. As one of the biggest advice, and focus on just yourself and what you can do. Don't stress over all the other things that are out there bugging you.
Comparison's the thief of joy again.
Yeah. I think knowledge is power too, right? Just knowing that, educating these females, like, hey, you may change, you may plateau, like, know that may come, it may not, it might. So I think knowledge is power. And then I guess back to the internet, there are great examples out there of athletes who have had setbacks and comebacks, on the female side, right, who've had transitions and they had a strong high school and college was rough and then they went pro. So I think, you can use that to your advantage as well. So I think knowledge is power for these female athletes, knowing it may change for them and just to stick with it. And then I think more than anything, whether you're a parent or you're a coach, the love's got to come from within. Like you can love it more than the kid, but the kid's got to love it. And if they love it and they stick with it, and then just a zoom out approach. I think that's probably important for every middle schooler and high schooler just in life. Zoom out. Like it might seem like the biggest deal, the biggest moment right now, but this is a short piece of your life. So whether it's the best, whether you're on the mountaintop or you're at the bottom of it, just know, keep showing up.
That transition to middle school, high school, what sticks out?
Yeah. So one of the big transitions is really beyond the mileage. It's the social aspect. You're little freshmen coming into a bigger group, bigger school. We had kids this morning on the track, and they didn't know where the gym was, in terms of trying to meet tomorrow. So a lot of the logistics where you're just trying to get them into the program, ensuring that we don't overwhelm them. That's the biggest thing. If you're in middle school, back to what was discussed earlier, we don't want to be having kids run 40, 50 miles a week in middle school. A good middle schooler should be running 15 to 20 maybe. Some exceptions, but it wouldn't be a big shock to have a middle schooler come in and they've run 15 miles last week, and that's perfectly fine. I have an expectation if you're a senior, they're going to be running more than that. But there's a 4-year progression to go get them there. And it's back to what we said before, having some patience, understand there's a process. We're going to go through it, and you're going to have the one-offs that's going to be incredible as a freshman and go run something fabulous. I'm looking for 4 other kids that can progress among 4 years and be that next team. We've got a strong senior team on our girls. I'm looking for next year. We've got who's next, right? And who's that high schooler that just showed up and decided to go run and is going to have a great year this year, such that next year that we've got them situated into next year to enjoy it and come back, right? So just trying to lower the pressure level, and even from outside and the parents and everything else. These kids are smart kids. You look around, these cross-country kids are the smartest kids in the school. they do have a big load in terms of all the AP classes and externships. So it's managing all that to lower the stress and make it still enjoyable for them.
Nice. Yeah, being a scholar athlete is not easy, right? And a lot of these kids, and we were talking the other night at dinner about the power of association, who you surround yourself with.
Yes.
And so far, so good. My boys and the teams that they're on, that, the kids they're with are like them. They're good in school. They're pretty smart. They behave for the most part. And they run decent, which is nice, right? Okay, so round robin real quick. Tips for parents, athletes, or other coaches if you want to share your magic. But a couple topics that have come up that I'm sure people would appreciate. Fueling. When it comes to fueling as a middle schooler or a high schooler, what's one or two quick tips you could give an athlete, parent, coaches?
Stick to the basics. You have to fuel. A car can't run on no gas.
Yeah.
So, put good, clean gas in your car. It'll run better.
I love it.
Same. Hydration. It is summer, and you're just not going to run the workout well if you had a vending machine snack at lunch, which sometimes happen, right? You're running between classes, and so just making sure first you're getting enough, and then it'd be great if it was clean, but just something in the system is better than nothing. So that's a big piece of it, and just making sure it's consistent. The hydration, especially right now, it is. The dew points are high. It is so hot, and we're starting workouts, and it's tough. And it's not that you don't have the fitness. It's just you didn't really practice prep, right? You didn't eat dinner last night. And
Cars
drink
running
water,
on fumes,
right?
right?
So,
Yeah.
What do you want to add?
I think you need to fuel earlier. So a lot of these kids, hey, I brought my water and my Gatorade with me. You should have drank that last night. So you got to make sure you're fueling after the night before and getting your system as hydrated as possible. I think it's important. And that combined with rest. So more hours downtime of the rest along with fueling is going to set you up for the next workout or next event.
So do I need to be doing creatine and gels and all that right now?
Need to? No.
You don't need to
Okay.
know. There are studies that show that helps. I tell all the parents, go to your nutritionist or your doctor, and if you want to go down the path, there are some things that you can do. But if all the studies show that rest, hydration, and actually the amount of protein, ratio between protein and carbohydrates is the highest on that scale. So I would tell everybody, all the coaches out there and folks here, that you got to get the protein in the ratios, and all the studies show that they'll give you arguments about what it is, but for me, I got to get between 120 and 150 grams of protein in me every day, and it's difficult. I had a protein shake before I came in here.
That's why you're doing so well on the podcast.
Exactly.
That's
why I'm all hyped
You are
up.
on your game.
So I would tell the kids, protein's important because you're trying to feed those muscles that you're
That's right.
breaking down.
I would add, food first, right? And then supplement second. So food first.
Yeah.
I'm not a nutritionist, but I do think getting some blood work, I just did it for the first time for my 3 kids. And the ferritin, I was like,
you.
the vitamin D was low. And I really had to advocate for it at the pediatrician's office. They're like, we don't want to do a blood test. And I wanted my insurance to pay for it. I didn't want to do Inside Tracker. So I really had to push for it and got it. And lo and behold, I'm like, oh my goodness, my kids probably need iron supplements. They probably need some vitamin D. The oldest one's running 50-mile weeks. Like, they really need their ferritin above where it is right now at sea level. So I do think if you can, and pediatricians and insurance companies should be paying for it, like if you can advocate, it's not a have to do, but iron specifically in the summer where we live is something that if it gets low, it really is hard to get back. So a nice preseason check wouldn't be bad, or pre-summer check.
Yeah, that's huge. I tell the parents and athletes every year, you should be checking that twice a year at minimum. And you'd be amazed. There's so many that think, I'm fine. And they're not.
Yeah.
And they get it checked, and they're like, that's what's causing all this.
And it can cause stress fractures. It can cause you to just to plateau and not do well. And we have all of our kids check the ferritin levels. It's a big deal. My daughter had a ferritin level of 6. And so she had to stop running and get that level up. And it takes a long time to get that level up. So you could be out for a month. About 10 years ago, half of Chiles' cross-country team was out because their ferritin levels were so low. So it's important that's checked. Yeah.
Okay.
And clinically, where they want it is different from where they want an athlete. So there are great
Yes,
nutritionists out there. I'm not one, but clinically, you could be fine, right? You won't even get flagged on your lab, whereas for an endurance athlete in the state of Florida, you may want that higher. So.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, no, I think it's a good tip. Blood work, right?
Yes.
Injury prevention, off the top of your head. Good tip. Injury prevention.
Keep your shoes updated.
Okay. Shoes updated. What else?
Speak up if you eat early, because we usually find out after the fact, and you've already done a bunch of hard workouts, and they're already hurt. We're big on pivoting to do something else, get in the pool, get in the gym, get on a bike. We need you later, so.
Okay.
I'd say progressing the miles. I know it's basic, but if your Strava looks like up, down, up, down, up, down, you can probably predict it's not going to go well. If you see a nice slow progression up on Strava, they're probably in good shape as they start adding on workouts. But it's hard. It's summer. You travel. You didn't think about it. Then you're trying to do the mileage your running partner did, and you're not ready for it. So simple things like that, just being wise about that. And then sleep, which is really hard for teens and middle schoolers right now. So
It's hard for me right now.
I mean, it's hard for all of us, but I'm like, you're doing 50-mile weeks on 6 hours. Like, are you setting yourself up for disaster? So the basics, which are really hard, common knowledge isn't common practice. So just trying to do it.
Race day tip for an athlete. What's a go-to race day for an athlete? Make sure you do this.
Clear your mind. Know what you're supposed to do that day before that day starts. Don't come into the day uncertain of what you're supposed to be doing. Have a plan and try to stay to that plan, because as soon as you start questioning it and changing it, your mind gets off. You're focused on something else other than the race. So get everything prepared during the week, so that race day you're only focused on your plan and you try to execute it the best you can.
Are you saying running is mental? What?
A little bit.
A little bit? What do you got? Race day tip.
I was going to add a little to that, right? You do all the training right. You don't have your mindset. And I think it's different every race, right? You're a freshman running your very first 5K at Cecil Field. That's a different kind of mentality you should have. That's not the state championship on the line, right? It's go out there, have fun. I think if you can turn it positive, find the joy in it, the joy in the pain, that's good. And then, just doing all the right things leading up to it.
Yeah. Dave?
Just what the other two already said, but I would add to it that the biggest issue for a lot of our kids is the mental side of it. They're so competitive on our team that it's really taking a step back and saying, let's do some mental exercises. Let's understand on your last race and deconstruct it, what went well and how to recreate that. If they don't have such a good race, let's understand what that is. The world didn't end today because you had a bad race, and let's understand what the long goal is. But really have some mental clarity in terms of what the long progression is. You brought up Josh Kerr, earlier in the podcast. He just didn't suddenly decide to break the world record. He went backwards and had a process and a plan months before that he built, and he was really process specific in what he was going to do, and he enacted on that plan. And then suddenly wonderful things happened that day, but it just didn't happen out of happenstance. He had a plan. He had mental clarity to do that plan and execute that plan. And that's what we should do.
And on the right day, it can all come together.
Yeah.
Well, and don't wait till race day to practice it, right? You got a hard interval workout. Like, where does your mind go when things get hard?
Yes.
And how can you reframe that, retrain that? So are you thinking about how hot it is, how tired you are, how awful it is? Or are you like, I'm so grateful to be here. I'm strong. I'm going to do my best. Whatever it might be that you need to reframe, because when you practice it, then when race day comes, you'll be a little more ready.
Yeah, I mean, in middle schoolers, high schoolers, I'll talk to our kids about visualization and mantras. Now, how much do they get about visualization when they're in middle school? I don't know, but we talk about seeing that finish line and how you feel when you cross that finish line. And if you want to feel a certain way, then you got to do the work today to feel that way. Or you feel a different way when you cross the finish line, and you can look back and go, oh, maybe I didn't do what I needed to do. You know what I mean? It's just that whole mental piece. And, I don't know how old they got to be to figure that out, but we talk about it.
I think they pick it up. Like, I love Steve Magnus, and he always says, run basically easy, sometimes hard, every now and then go see God. And I think I said that once to the middle school kids, and I still see them #go see God during the races. So
Nice.
I think it's whatever you're throwing out there, even at a young level, on how they talk to themselves they're gonna pick it up more than you think.
So last question, as coaches, what's your favorite part? What do you love about being a coach? What do you love about being a coach? Knauf?
So for me, it's just expanding the sport. I love the fact everybody wants to go win. I get it, but it was incredible for us when you go back to NIMS Middle School example, finding 5 athletes that really aren't runners to go out and run and compete and actually finish. And there's a lot to be said about that. So we have a big team. I'm going to treat the very last runner as well as I'm going to treat the first runner, and I really want to see an improvement. If you look at last year, the whole herd, I'm going to call them, the whole group kind of had an improvement from A to B, and that's satisfying because I know they're realizing what they can do and they're hitting goals, and it's part of becoming leaders, right? It's more than running. These are our future leaders in our society, and we do a lot of leadership skills. So how do we make them better people along the way? And it's just great to see them develop from A to B. It's really satisfying.
Good.
A lot of the same things. I think when you get to be with these kids, especially year after year, I mean, you develop a special relationship with them too. That might be different from their parents or their teachers, right? You're running on the trails, the conversations are different. So, I just truly love the kids. I think cross-country runners are special, whether you're the fastest or you're just coming out there trying to run with them. Like it draws a special type of kid. So I love the kids, and I love to see just the development. And I think more importantly, those transferable skills, right? When they do something that they didn't think they could do, and then you see that outside in the classroom in their jobs. And then, like I said, I hope they always love it, and they know they can always come back to it. Even you can always come back to running. So it's just fun to follow these kids year after year.
Thanks.
Yeah,
Chris?
those individual successes and changes when you feel like you've actually, impacted someone, that's huge. That's way more exciting than those state titles. So.
Yeah. Well, on behalf of a lot of parents out there, thank you for being coaches. I appreciate it, right? Our sports wouldn't be here if we didn't have folks like you stepping in and helping our kids get to a place they've never been before, right? And through running, through cross country. So thank you for what you do. Thank you for being on the We Run This Town podcast, the official podcast of Gulf Winds Track Club. It's been a joy having y'all here today, sharing your knowledge about cross country, middle school, high school, and our kids and our parents. So thank you again for being here. All right. Thumbs up all around the table.
Awesome.
There we go.
Awesome.
And everybody else, keep running. See you next time. Thank you for listening to today's episode of We Run This Town podcast, the official podcast of Gulf Winds Track Club. For more information on the club, whether that be membership, upcoming races, or to listen to more episodes, visit gulfwinds.org. Remember, whether you're an elite runner or a beginning runner, together we run this town.